how you see this match is progressing and what kind of special measures Indian team is taking to beat this Brisbane Heat?
We're drinking water starting from the evening and trying to keep ourselves rehydrated. That's the first thing we're doing. And I think we are in front of the game at this point of time. If we can have a good first session tomorrow, I think we'll have our noses ahead in front of the game.
Bharat.
Ashwin, this is kind of the first time you have two guys bowling from the other end, like bowling quick and bowling short. Does it help your cause in any way? Because you're kind of messing up with the footwork, or it's like your first experience.
As far as I was concerned, I had my focus very sharp. So it really didn't matter what was happening at the other end. I wouldn't say it really didn't matter for the team's cause, but from my perspective, whatever happened at the other end, I would have just forgotten and gone about doing my job. So it really didn't matter. But it is a pleasure to actually face the music when we go in. It's a pleasure to see the opponents also facing the similar kind of music.
Steve Smith played with a lot of confidence to you, using his feet to you tonight. How hard does that make it, and how big a wicket is he for you tomorrow?
I think using the feet is going to be much more easier on these kind of wickets. If it was a slightly different wicket with more foot marks, I'd fancy myself much more, but I still fancy myself. I still kept throwing the ball up, and I would still fancy to get him out tomorrow morning. It's not about Steve Smith or any names that we want to take out here. It's just going to be a couple of wickets that we need tomorrow morning. Nobody is as big as we proclaim it to be.
Ashwin, after the last couple of tests you played, it must be really good to be bowling with 400 runs on the board.
Yes, it is. I think we could have made a little more runs. I was still really disappointed with the way I got out in the morning. I thought I batted at my best. After a long time, I got a chance to bat in the middle, so I batted really well and felt really disappointed to have given my wicket away. And maybe if we had extended the partnership, we would have got 50 runs more. But 400 is enough, I guess. If we can get a couple of wickets, as I said, tomorrow morning, I think we are right in front.
Ashwin, towards the end of the UK tour, in the last test you played, could see you were coming back into form and continued into the ODI series. Especially after that, how disappointing was it to be left out of the first test of the series?
These things are going to happen, I think. It's not just for me, it's not going to stop with me. It's going to happen to many cricketers in the future, and it's happened to cricketers in the past. I think it's horses for the courses, and if the team needs someone, you should be really, really appreciative of the fact that the team needs someone else more than you, and you have to give way for it. And I was more than happy to do it. If ever there was a learning for me, I try and learn from it. And if I can become a better cricketer, I'd become a better cricketer.
It was a similar question I was going to ask.
Chetan.
Ashwin, just continuing from that question, but over the last 4 years, you've been here in Australia before, so just 6 test matches overseas, stats probably, don't go against your favor. So how do you motivate yourself when you get, you play 2 tests, then you sit out 1, then you come back again, and then you have to bowl on probably a tougher pitch than Adelaide maybe?
Simple, man. Every day that I've woken up in the last year or so, I've just woken up, put my hands up and said, please beat everybody by stats and please beat everybody by technique. That's the simplest form I can do, because if I get wickets, people are going to say this is wrong and that is wrong. If I don't get wickets, they're going to say the stats are not quite right. For me, it doesn't really matter. If I can be a better cricketer the next morning that I wake up, it's enough. As simple as that.
Ashwin, what did you specifically take out of your tour of Australia here 3 years ago that you thought you needed to improve to have an impact this time?
As a bowler, I think first being really accurate and try and make sure that you do your job at your best of your abilities and leave it to the batsman for making the mistake. And if conditions are not favouring you, there's no point in going and picking the conditions and trying too much. So that is one thing I learned the last time I was here. And the second thing I learned was I was good enough to bat here. So those are the 2 things that I learned.
Yeah, about one of the aspects you've really worked on is in catching. You took a very good catch. Can you tell us about the work you've put in to be a good slip fielder?
See, as I said, when you tour abroad quite a bit, it's not as much bowling that you do when you do back in India. So there are other avenues that I look at contributing for the team. One is batting, and the other one is obviously slip catching with greats like Rahul Dravid and Lakshman that have left the team. Slip catching is something which has been somewhat iffy for us, and to work on it is not an easy deal because it's a senior slip cotton that we left, so we had to actually fit in. Slip catching is all about perception. You can't just go and take a few catches and start taking catches, so you need to be really patient and put your yards in. I think I would have taken about 1,000 catches in the last year, so I'm happy to have got one.